enclosed space with no means of ventilation while submerged. He did not want the deaths of sailors from carbon monoxide poisoning on his conscience. The embarkation of white mice as an early warning device was another eccentric facet of the weird world of submarining. If their little lungs couldn't cope with the foul and fetid atmosphere, then it wouldn't be long until the humans couldn't either. Durston suggested submersibles were unviable until a different means of propulsion could be found. Elsewhere, the director of naval construction totally rejected submarines. He regarded them as lunacy, what with their blundering around beneath the waves with no means of seeing where they were going. Navigation was by guesswork. Their primitive periscope used a knuckle pivot on the outside of the hull so it could be swung up rather than extended vertically from inside the boat, as later became the practice. The image also rotated as the scope rotated. It was better than no sight at all, but not much. As if that wasn't bad enough, while submerged, the switch controls for the electric motor sparked frenetically. At any moment they might ignite petrol or diesel fumes, creating an inferno that burned both mice and men to a crisp. Running on the surface with the hatch open during recharging primitive batteries emitted poisonous gas. Death was a close companion for the early British submariners. Their clothes, whether ashore or out on the ocean, always stank of petrol or diesel fumes, with a hint of vomit. The first generation of British boats rolled wildly while on the surface, in anything but a flat, calm sea, so throwing up was a normal activity. Then there was the customary tinge of excrement, more of that shortly, and the aroma of cooking grease to finish off the distinctive scent of the submariner. Those boats lucky enough to possess some form of toilet had to follow a careful procedure to evacuate the offending fecal matter. The toilet pan had to be pumped out by hand or with the assistance of high-pressure air. While submerged, it was essential not to use up all the air in the boat, so the toilet pan was not cleared until absolutely necessary. This meant quite a pile of human waste. Sometimes there would be a blowback during the pan evacuation process. The unfortunate sailor, most often the new boy in a crew, would get blasted in the face. Consequently, the wise submariner would adopt the tactic of sidling in, crab-like, head well below the top of the pan. He would operate the various levers and valves with utmost caution. If there was blowback, it would cover only his clothes, hands, and hair. The submarine stank most on its return from a patrol. The crew would have no idea how bad it was, or how much they reeked, for their olfactory senses had long ago been desensitized. In those submarines lacking a toilet, efforts were made to deploy the bucket when the boat was surfaced. The submariner did his business by hovering over it while the receptacle sat on the casing. The contents were then tipped over the side. In those boats blessed with a toilet, the trick was to make sure the expulsion of its contents while submerged did not betray the submarine's position to the enemy. Air bubbles and brown stuff on the surface were a dead giveaway. Despite all this, there were those who saw the game-changing nature of the submarine. For Britain's Navy also produced modernizers who seized the day with vigour. Admiral Sir John Fisher, regarded with hostility by traditionalists because of his fervent belief in technological change, welcomed the revolution offered by the torpedo and submarine boat combination. Fisher was outraged both by admirals afloat and politicians ashore who saw submarines as playthings. Admiral Lord Charles Beresford was a particular foe of Fisher's. The two men diametrically opposed ideologically, cultivating a bitter feud that at times burst into the public arena and scandalized the nation. Beresford, a confirmed battleship man, contemptuously labelled submarines Fisher's